Hello YouTubers, my name is Mike. I'm going to start making some videos on showing people how to properly install pretty much everything on your scale rigs, any type of RC upgrades from anywhere from MGT to a T-Max. I'll be doing lots of different projects, budget builds, custom builds, anything like that. So basically what I'm going to be doing today is going over tires, rims, 6-wheel drive upgrades, and basically Vanquish products, Robinson Racing products, and RC 4-wheel drive products. A lot of great vendors and manufacturers of pretty good scale products. So we'll get started here. So first thing I'm going to start with is these Vanquish SLW version 5 0.7 inch 2.2 rims. 0.7 inch is the width. Excellent looking rim, very light. Very narrow too, so what that does is it actually takes the rim and the wheel and it sucks it in on an angle so it looks more like a scale wheel. So rather than having these guys right here, which are the axial ones, the rim is pretty much flush with the wall of the tire. And then you take the Vanquish ones, the 0.7 inch ones, it sucks it in and makes it look like a real small wheel on a really big and wide tire, so it gives you that really nice look. And a lot of times what I do too is I run most of my rims with air, so there's no foam in here. You know, you can run foam, you can run soft air pellets in there for weight and for a little bit of extra oomph to your tire, but it really comes down to personal preference. Try whatever works for you. So basically what we're working with is the SLWs today. I'll put this other stuff aside here. So we've got the rims. Biggest thing you got to remember when you're purchasing virtually any product from RC 4-wheel drive or Vanquish is you always got to make sure you buy make sure you check the specifications on the part you're buying to make sure it doesn't need any extra parts like wheel hubs to bolt the wheel to the axle, bead lock rims, screws, anything like that. In this instance, the SLW stands for it stands for super lightweight wheel. So when you buy these, you have to buy the wheel, you have to buy the bead locks, and you have to buy the hubs. Fortunate for this, the wheel itself, when you buy the two wheels, it does come with all the bolts and screws you would need to bolt everything to it, including the hubs. So just going to go over here quickly what I'm going to do. You got to pull off a tire. I've already got one pulled off. I'm going to start disassembling it. So now that everything's set up here, so the first thing you want to do is when you get your tire off the axle, I always like to make sure when I have my bolts off, put them back on the axle, you know, so you're not losing them and replacing them and, you know, all that song and dance. So what you got to do now is we're going in little puddles, mud, dirt, grass, whatever. These little bolts, sorry, I keep calling them bolts. These screws tend to get a lot of gunk in there, and it makes it hard to get your screwdriver in there. And a lot of times causes stripping, and then your hoops, you got to use a pair of vice grips or a grinder, make a slot in it so you can get them out nice. So generally before I get started, I go through and I just take a multi-tool with a sharp end, being careful not to cut myself or puncture the tire or wreck the finish on any of the previous parts. And all you do is just clean out some of the dirt. Now a lot of guys will probably give me crap for this, but I'm going to be using a drill to be pulling all these out. Not for putting them back in though, but I will be using them just to pull the screws out. Makes the job a little bit quicker. And like I said before, always have a nice place for your bolts. See? Little container. You know, as you get going, you just pull her all apart. Should have some music playing in the background. You just hear random noises. I guess while I'm doing this, I can talk about some of the products I'll be using. Like I said, the Vanquish wheels, they're one of my favorite products I've used. Unfortunately, I have used Integy. Don't get me wrong, for the price you pay for some of the Integy stuff, it always comes down to the same thing. You do get what you pay for. Oh, and that looks like I just wore that one out. You do get what you pay for when you're purchasing some of these aftermarket parts for RCs. Like I said, I do use Integy on some of my stuff because they just don't have products from other manufacturers out yet. Like for instance, I have an Exoterra. Well, the Exoterra stuff, Vanquish never has anything in stock due to the fact that they're moving their shop. But you know, Energy had a lot in stock, so I went and bought a couple kits, and you know, works just fine. Maybe not for a basher, because you know, you take one bad fall with one of those vehicles and it's pretty much going to be wrecking some stuff. So alright, so like I said before, I'm going to get in trouble. I think I may have rounded these guys out, but we will see. Nope, look at that. Just means I have a bad bit, so I have to go and replace that, because you don't want to be using it on a trail, stripping something out. I tend to generally bring a trail kit with me when I go out, and yes, I did just drop that screw on the carpet. You know, I tend to go out to RCing. I have a nice kit with me that I have. I have a kit, you know, screwdrivers, tools, replacement parts for virtually every vehicle that I have. And the last thing you want to do is be having stripped out nuts, bolts, whatever on the trail, and then you're stuck with a broken piece you can't fix because you were, you know, a little too hasty on trying to get it apart the first time, and you messed it up. So don't do what I did on that part. Now, a lot of people, you can reuse a lot of these bolts. Just make sure that they're not overly gutted from disassembling. Nice thing about screws and bolts, they are cheap. I go out and I usually buy a couple of these at a time. They're great for virtually any vehicle that you may have. They have everything from flatheads to I believe they're beveled head, and then they have the socket head as well, which are great for any RC really. Okay, so now that I got this bead locks off, I'm just gonna pop this guy out and see. Like I said, I always put a little bit of weight in there. I'm probably gonna just keep these the way they are for now until I start flipping it or not getting as much traction as I'd like. And you know, it's like anything else in RCing. It's customizing. It's basically making it your own. There's not two vehicles out there the same unless they're completely bone stock. Alright, so now I got the wheel off. I should have done a better job cleaning this off. I like my vehicles to be fairly clean when I bring them home, because my wife will yell at me. So, alright, well, let's have a look at this bone bare rim here. So this is the old Vanquish packaging, I believe. Is this old foam and plastic and all that. So if you have a look at that, that's pretty small. Like, that's not even as wide as this guy here. So you're going to have a little bit of patience when you're putting these new tires and wheels together, just because they are a lot tighter. So I will be doing one of these tires today with a foam and without a foam. So the first one I'll do without a foam. So this, like any other Vanquish rim, just pop it up in there. This doesn't have any beadlock ring. Everything is built into this, sorry, not beadlock ring, retaining ring on the inside. So basically just flop the rim in there like that, and then all you do is, I usually start on the front, back, doesn't really matter. That's what she said. So once you get it in there, you put your beadlock on. I usually just put the two bolts in, get them snug. You don't want to over tighten it at first, and then you put the rest of the screws in just snug, and then you want to do a star pattern, because that's generally what Vanquish recommends, because you know, they know their stuff, they build the stuff, they know best. So let's get all this stuff ready. So get the beadlocks out. Beadlock rings out, sorry. Pull those out. Put some of this garbage off to the side here. Now me, I like to just pour out all my screws, just like so. Now there's two types of screws in here. You got these rounded head with the Allen key on them. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's what you're using for your beadlock. And then you've got the open head, these guys right here, very small little guys. These are for your wheel hubs. These are what you're going to be using last. So basically what I do, not using the drill, I like to do these by hand, just because Vanquish products are very nice and I don't want to slip and scratch the finish. So now what you're going to do is you always want to start with one ring first. Now there's two sets of rings in here. There's a beauty ring, like this one here. It's kind of nice, has a VP symbol on the front. You know, very nice. That's obviously your front one. So make sure you put that one on the front and not the back. Just get it lined up. Now make sure, because it is aluminum, it is very easy to cross thread. And cross-threaded aluminum is a lot harder to fix than, well, let's say cross-threaded anything else, but cross-threading just in general isn't good. So, now hopefully I got all this on video, because I just noticed that I'm sitting here pretty far back when I'm doing all this. So like I said before, once you get your ring in there, and your bead locks in there, you just snug these up just enough so you can get the rest of the screws in there. So I just go through usually, just put them in there, be gentle, not to scratch the finish on the bead ring. Okay. And just like so. Another thing I have to mention too is some of these tires that you do buy, they're actually directional, so you want to make sure that you have the proper thread direction, not thread direction, sorry, tread direction, so that you don't have one tire looking off and goofy from the other. Some people don't care, I care, there's a lot of guys out there that do as well. Just make sure you follow the proper direction. So these ones right here, these technically are directional, may not be. I'm just kind of putting them together, see how everything looks, see how everything goes together. So now you want to do your star pattern. So with this stuff, until it's snug, don't over tighten it, because this is stainless steel against, I believe it's 60, 61 or something like that grade aluminum, so it's fairly nice stuff. So basically you just move one over, that's your star pattern. And you right across from it, and you want to snug it up. It's a little bit looser, okay, until it's snug. Just keep doing the star pattern. Back and forth. And then, yeah, so that's all snug. Basically, once it's pretty much tight, because it just goes right flush and keeps that tire bead right in there. Okay, so good. I go around, double check them all. You can see that one was loose. A lot of guys recommend using thread lock on these, just because I've had that experience with some other products that I've used where I've used thread lock, even the blue stuff. And basically what it's done is I couldn't get it out, and then I had to use a die grinder to get it out, and I just ended up screwing up the rim. And I was just like, you know what, for now on I'm not using bead lock. If I lose, not always, I always use bead lock for other stuff, but just for rims and stuff like that, it's always in the water, always getting mucked up and scratched and gouged. You know, I tend to just not use it. So anyway, it's your own diligence. You can use it if you want. Okay, so same thing. It's going to be a little bit harder now because you're going to have the wheel fighting against itself here. So I do the same thing. I just get two screws somewhat set, lined up, and in the hole with possibly just two light turns. And then you just want to make sure that when you push it in, it makes a nice seal, which means that it's got the air out. Sorry, the air's in there, it's locked up, it's not going to be leaking anywhere. And then you just go through and you just keep putting your screws in. And same thing, I like to just screw it right down, not till it's tight, but just enough so that it's the tire bead's not going to come out, and then you got to start from scratch. There we go. So I'm just going to finish putting the rest of these screws in. Like I said, very simple, an easy project to do, just to give your vehicle a different look than everybody else's. Is to change rims, bead lock rings, you can put a bumper on, change the body, put a different paint job on it, you know, make it your own. That's the idea of this whole scale and crawler thing, is to make your own vehicle and make it look the same. So same thing, now I'm just going to be doing star pattern directly across from itself. You just keep going back and forth. So I'm going to turn the camera a little bit because I don't want this to get out. Sorry if my crotch is in there. Okay, so same thing. Just keep going back and forth until those are nice and snug. So there you go. So there is a fully assembled tire, wheel, beadlock ring set. Looks pretty sharp. Looks pretty sick. You know, it's the SLWs are a little bit more inexpensive purchase compared to the KMCs or their competition rock crawlers, because this is just 3 components as opposed to I believe their rock crawler series you have to buy everything. The rear retaining ring, you got to buy the front back locking ring, and you got to buy every individual component, and that's what makes Vanquish so superior in their products, is because they are versatile and they're just great products. I love them. Okay, so the next thing you got to do, obviously, is you've got to put your wheel hub on. Now, before I do this, I will mention a couple things. Now, this one has a hole in the center of the wheel. Now, usually that's what you call where the hub lines up on real vehicles, and your hub sticking out, and you can put grease in or whatever you got to do. Some of them, like the KMCs, have a solid hub in the middle, so you can't take that out. You can't do anything. So some of these you actually have to put this hub on the vehicle first before you put the tire on and the wheel on. But with this one, because I have a hole, which means I can get my bolt on there and attach it to the axle, I can go ahead and put these on and just have them completely assembled, and there's nothing left for me to do. So now you're going to be using the hex heads. So you just go ahead, same thing with these, usually just hand tighten them first, just so you get a nice seat. And the same thing you do with any real bolt is you just get them so that they're somewhat tight, and then you go around to the star pattern like you would on a vehicle. This just allows for a proper seat. You're not going to be stripping anything out, cross-threading, anything like that. Yeah, these ones are a little bit snug in there. I might have to pull these out again, but we'll see once I get them all seated. Now, remember, I don't have these completely tight. All I'm doing is just threading them so that I can see if this is seating properly, and make sure I'm not cross-threading anything. Don't want to screw anything up. These are nice rims. Now, I do get a lot of my products from the local hobby shop here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, directly from the north or south store of PM Hobbycraft. Just like any other manufacturer, they're having a difficulty getting stuff in. So I do have to go to Action Hobby, which is another great location. They virtually can get any product in for you want, between a week to 2 week wait time, and you have it. I might venture to the stores one day and do another video there, but we'll see how this goes. So same thing, star pattern, just snug up. You don't want to make them nice and tight. I don't recommend using thread lock on this, just because you will be taking these on and off a lot to change bearings. You break a C-hub, just for regular maintenance. So I tend to just, regular bolt on, leave it. If you lose a nut, buy extras. It's good to have. Like I said, buy boxes of screws. They're good to have around. Okay, so that's that guy there. The next thing we're going to be working on now is I'm putting the other wheel together, but with a foam, and I'll be showing you the differences between give in the tire flex, maneuverability, and just the pros and cons of it. So feel free to comment, correct me on anything that you think I'm doing wrong, or just say I'm doing a good job. Subscribe, like, and post your comments. Alright, so I've got this other wheel taken apart here. So what I'm going to try to do is put the new wheel in here with this foam. If it doesn't work the first time, obviously I'm going to pull out the foam, so we're going to give it a bit of a trim and see if it works better. Another thing you can do too with a lot of these foams, a lot of guys are taking it and they're cutting it here and they're V'ing it out, so you got some empty spots so that the tire buckle's nice when you're crawling over rocks, debris, really anything. Once again, it always comes down to personal preference, what you like. But if you haven't tried anything, try it out. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, well, try something different. So we'll go ahead here now and get this other rim ready, and the other set of bead locks. Sorry guys, I should have had this all done. Whatever. It's fun opening new toys, isn't it? Alright. Okay. So we're just going to stuff this rim in here. Now the first part's going to be fairly easy. Now I'm only going to use 2 screws at first to make sure this is going to work. If it doesn't work, well, back to the drawing board. I might have to pull the foam out and trim it up. I might even just do it afterwards anyway. I don't like a really rugged tire. Sorry, not rugged tire. Stiff tire. Just because, they're only good for certain things. Obviously, if you're using a stiff tire, you want it for speed because they won't balloon as much on you. Then a soft tire is better for going over rocks, mud, dirt, so on and so forth. Like I said, people, if I'm saying something incorrectly or your personal preferences or comments, just leave it down below there. Okay. So like I said, I'm just putting 2 on either bead ring to see how this is going to come together. Actually, you know what? It might not be too bad. It's going to be a little bit of jimmying it around in there to get it, but I think she might work. Yeah, you know what? I think... Yeah, just get a nice little pinch there. See, I don't know if you can see how I'm doing that. Of course, I'm not paying attention. I enjoy doing this RC stuff. It keeps my hands busy. Look at that. You know what? I think that might work. And then, of course, this last little bit here, just because the tire's being bulged out, a little bit of playing around to get her in there. Yeah. Enough lube, anything will fit. Okay, so let's see how that's going to look. Now, I don't think I'm going to bolt this one up completely just because I don't like foams in my tires, but I will just kind of give you an idea of what it's going to look like. It looks a lot bulgier than the one with just the air in it. So you have a look. So virtually the same tire, same rim, everything. Only thing that's different is this one has foam. Now, I'm squeezing quite hard on this, and that's just not a lot of give for me. I like it where you can just put the tire down with the weight of the vehicle. Like, that's a nice flex to the tire. And then when you're climbing over rocks, this thing's just going to tilt and it's going to twist. And that's what I like to see when I'm out rock crawling or mudding or just, you know, bashing it. I tend not to bash my my SCX just because they're not made for it, but it has happened. And then this guy here, like, you can push on that, and there's not a lot of give to that tire or wheel. Sorry, tire. The wheel's not moving. They're not. So yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and take this foam out. And just leave it with the air. But like I said, try your own thing, see what works for you. Comment below anything you want me to try. If you want me to do a certain project, like something that you're working on or something you want to figure out. I've done an MGT, first generation MGT electric conversion, so I can do a mock-up of that. 6-wheel drive conversion, I can show you how to do that. There's lots of places on YouTube and online that show you how to do it, but I'll do a step-by-step video if someone wants me to, or if a bunch of people want me to, I can do it as well. I'm also going to be getting a lookie 5T in, so that I can do a build on that. So here, let's get this camera set up so you're not staring at my crotch. So thanks for watching, and like I said, I'll be getting a lookie 5T here eventually. It's going to be used because I want to do a budget build for people, and then once the budget build's done, I'm going to get more in depth with some of the aftermarket products you can get, and we're just really going to beef it up, and then we're going to just bash the crap out of it. Also, I'm probably going to be getting a couple wraiths in. I want to do a kit, and then also I want to get a couple rollers in. I'm probably going to be getting those from a place online called Hobbies, just Hobbies with a Z at the end, .com. You can get full vehicles, just rollers, just random parts that they take off these vehicles. So yeah, stay tuned and bring you some more products and awesome ideas.